I always knew that David Brenner was insane. The first day he came to school, he walked into my second grade class. His fly was wide open. He had red, yellow, and green cellophane paper sticking out of it and said he was a campfire. You know a boy is insane. And you know something's wrong with a child when you ask him who the first president of the United States is, and he says, your mother. Let me tell you what he did on a class trip. We went to the zoo, and he spit on alligators in a reptile house. Bet his friends 50 cents he could close the alligator's eyes. This is insane. And he used to keep soup. Soup. I never had this before him. Look what he did to me, that boy. He kept soup in his desk. Cans of it. And he would take swigs of the soup when my back was turned. And then he would barf all over the desk. I thought he was sick. I sent him home. You know how many times I sent that child home? I should have sent him to a home. Here's a record. Look, it's all here in writing, my own handwriting from those days. Look at this. Late, Brenner David. Late, 38 days. Look, absent, 57 days. I wish you were absent 157 days. I want to tell you something, David Brenner. Anyone, any boy can be president of this United States of America, except you. You bastard!
Of course I remember David Brenner, as I remember all the children who grew up in these streets, as I remember their parents, all of them here in my heart. And let us not forget, for he remembers all living creatures, from the smallest sparrow that flies in the heavens to the field mice that bounce in the fields. Which reminds me of a story. A man pondered whether to buy an automobile or a sofa and dining room suite. Should he get chairs to sit upon for dinner, or a means of transportation to go through the streets to work and to visit friends and neighbors? His choice was a difficult one, for his family stood while they ate. But perhaps this was better than walking 6-10 miles to visit grandmother. He decided...
But my sharpest memory was when I took the entire Archaeology 101 class from Temple University on a trip down to the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. Marvelous, marvelous institution there, marvelous. It seems that a guard interrupted my lecture as we walked around the Smithsonian because he brought David Brenner with him. He was caught spitting on dinosaurs. Seems he had some kind of wager with the other students. I remember another time that, well, he did this often. He would, instead of raising his hand to be excused out of class like any normal person, or just leave, he would take this half a can of vegetable soup he kept in his desk, and he'd swallow half of it, and if you pardon the expression, he would regurgitate it all over the room, making believe he had an upset stomach. He signed up again for Archaeology 102 the next semester. I saw the name in the registration there, David Brenner, and it was around that time that I quit teaching, gave up my professorship, and since then I have been writing books and manufacturing Frisbees. Do you know what happened to David Brenner? I mean, you have an address on him, don't you?
You never forget no one which put a bird in your beard. My sugar. David Brenner worked here. This was his first job. He was about 9 years old when I hired him. He was a very good worker, nice little boy. And he used to, this was his counter. He used to stand here, I'll never forget, with the nose. His nose was right here, and his little hands, and he'd be serving meat to people. It was cute. And he put it on a scale, and he used to ring up things. He gave exact change. He was very good with figures. He was a nice boy. One little thing, he used to go in the freezer. I caught him one day. I couldn't believe this. I shouldn't, he went in the freezer and he had chickens. He had them sitting there, chickens, the little polkas, they're sitting, that's all, you get that, all right? He had the chicken sitting there and he was telling jokes to the chicken. Not chicken parts, the whole chicken. Very strange. I kept him, but he used to go back there with the chicken. He was a nice boy. Not normal, but a nice boy. To combine the two, he bought an automobile that had seats which could be taken out, removed, and placed at the dining room table. And so, yeah, Brenner, this was the first club he worked. I'm the first guy ever paid him. I thought it was funny. I liked the kid. I would have kept him, but he had this thing. He used to borrow these frozen chickens before he went on. Not steal them, he used to borrow them. He was disturbed. That's the truth. Is that what you're looking for?
So like I was telling you, David Brenner was living in a basement apartment. It used to be a vault or something when the building blew in one family, and he owed me rent. It was $45 a month. He told me he was going to be a star. Come out and see him in a club. Was out in Sheepshead Bay, Pips in Brooklyn. I get on the train. I go all the way out to Sheepshead Bay. I saw him. Let me tell you something. He stunk, all right? I came back. I threw his stuff out, everything out of the apartment. I got to show you something. I've been waiting years to show up. You were not going to believe the guy. He was off something, all right? Now look at this. In years of the game. Margaret, get that, will you? Look at this. What do you see? You want to see something what goes on? This is a guy that makes a lot of money. He's a big star. He left this in his apartment when he went out. Now go figure this.
I know what you're all thinking, but you're all wrong. I am not David Brenner, the comedian. My name is Billy J. Cumpley from Correction, Georgia. You see, I am David Brenner's identical twin. This was unknown to me. One day it was discovered by scientists. In a sense, I was in a town where David Brenner was appearing, and I was running for a bus. And I smack dab bang right into him. And we started talking and looking at each other and said, you got the same face. Well, you know what they have found out, which is really interesting? I'm going back in my past, been reunited with my family. They found out that David and I were with our mother, Miss Brenner. She was shopping, and it seems like I fell out of her pocket. Now that we're reunited, I want to wish David a happy anniversary in show business, my new twin brother, and to tell you, I am too with talent. I can't tell jokes, I dance. And I like to do this anniversary dance for my twin brother, David. Okay. Move, you little bastards, move. T for two, and two for T. Shit.
They're not compromises, they're not sacrifices, they're intelligent reasons. So before you say this or that, say perhaps this, that.
Shall I go now? Mm-hmm. My daughter hardly dated David Brenner. A couple times, I think. He was not a popular boy. He was ugly.
I dated David Brenner for over a year. He was the most popular boy in the school, you know. Rather good-looking, handsome in a sense.
I never saw such an emaciated person.
He was so tall and thin with those muscles, sinew, we called it sinew.
He had the eyes like a little gorilla, the evil eyes. You could see rape, murder, robbery.
And his eyes, fire, sin, sex, and lust in those eyes.
And a mouth like big, a manhole mouth he had, with the teeth hanging like white potatoes hanging out of his mouth.
Everyone loved his mouth, all the girls. When he kissed you, he could suck your whole face.
He had a nose, I swear to you, I don't mean nothing by it, like a big veal chop hanging from his face.
Perhaps the best part of David was his nose. You know what they say about men with long noses? And so true.
I'll tell you the truth, I hate to talk about it on live television like this, but he attacked my daughter Sylvia once.
Every time we were together, he attacked me.
I couldn't believe. Oh my God, the phlegm. Excuse me. Oh. Since my husband passed away, I get a lot of phlegm. I never understood why. She came home without a training bra, I swear to you. Gone from her body entirely. He was an animal.
An animal?
one day reporters would come to the house like this and say, what was he like? Because he was up for whatever. What did he do? Murder, rape? What is he? Where is he?
He became a giant, giant television star.
A television star?
Big.
Oh my God.